edition of the Motorsport Gourmet. Today we're going to make an English favorite dish, likely one of your favorites too. Going into the holidays, this is a great cold weather dish and it's called shepherd's pie. Now some of you have had shepherd's pie before, or so you thought. If you go to your favorite English pub, Irish pub, or your restaurant and order shepherd's pie off the menu, you're likely not getting shepherd's pie. What you're actually getting is cottage pie. Cottage pie is very similar, but it's made with beef, whereas shepherd's pie is made from, guess what? Lamb. Yeah, so lamb has a much, much better flavor if you want a real shepherd's pie. If you can't get it, you can substitute the beef, but then you're having a cottage pie, not a shepherd's pie. And if you can't find ground lamb at your store or butcher, you can ask them to grind some lamb for you. There's about 3 pounds here. This will make a fairly big pie that will feed probably 8 people. You can make a smaller one than this, but I'm making a big one. We're going to feed lots of people today. So what we have is our ground lamb. So now we're going to make for the potato topping. We've got potatoes, salt, pepper, some butter, cheese, optional. You may not want the cheese if you're lactose intolerant, and some whipping cream for that as well, some eggs, celery, peas, carrots, onions, garlic, tomato paste, and some Worcestershire sauce also. Okay, so here's all the ingredients. I'm going to, by the magic of television here, make this appear into chopped goods ready to cook next, okay? Okay, the magic of TV didn't happen that quickly, but my producer reminded me, if we're doing no cheese for lactose intolerant viewers, instead of the whipping cream, you can use non-dairy creamer. Works just as well, and actually you can't tell the difference. So now, by the magic of TV, are you ready? Boom! Look at that, all chopped and ready to go. Our spuds are going to go in first. We can boil those and get them ready for our mashed potatoes. Got some butter, some cheese. Also got some beef stock. There's 2 cups of beef stock. So just let me run down real quick what we've got. Now I've doubled the recipe, or put it another way, you can halve it to make a smaller dish. We're going to make one this size, okay? So what I've got is 2 cups of onions, 4 cloves of garlic, about 3 carrots, which I shredded, a cup of peas, 4 stalks of celery, nice long stalks of celery, of course washed, cut up. In here I've got 2 teaspoons of thyme and 4 teaspoons of rosemary. Now, when you get the thyme, nearly had an accident there. When you get the thyme, it comes on usually longer sprigs than this. I got quite small ones, unfortunately, at the store. But much like the rosemary, when you want to cut it, don't cut it on the stalk. Just take it and do like that, and you can now just chop that up finely, okay?
In case you missed that, here it is in slow-mo.
That's what you should wind up with, okay? Cheese, there's just a couple of cups of cheese there. You can adjust that however you like for your potatoes. And I've got 5 big baking potatoes peeled and ready to go here. And we're gonna get that going shortly. And I've got 3 pounds of lamb, okay? So that's everything. Oh, and 2 cups of beef stock. You can use chicken stock if you like. I like the beef stock. And again, if you want to halve those, you can make a half one of those. Okay? Okay, let's get going. We'll start our potatoes. I've diced them in about, 1 inch cube like that. We've got some salted boiling water ready to go. So carefully, without trying to burn yourself, put your spuds in the water like that. There should be just enough water in your bowl just to cover the potatoes. You haven't got to have this much water over the spuds, just enough. There's always an escapee. So we're going to let those boil. Should take maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes. In the meantime, let's get going on the fun stuff with the meat and the veggies, okay? So here's our big pan. I've got a big one here because we're using a lot of meat, but like I said, you can use a smaller one if you're using half the recipe. All right, what I'm gonna do here is move me potatoes over here and use this big burner. Okay, we're going to use some avocado oil, about, you know, a good few glugs. That's a technical term. Enough to coat the bottom of the pan nicely. Okay, so that should heat up quite quickly because that burner is already hot from the potatoes. And we are going to put our onions in that. Follow me. Here's our 2 cups of onions. That's going to go in next. Okay, because it's not a real TV studio, I've moved my ingredients over here to make it a little easier. The potatoes are going, our oil is nice and hot. Here's our onions. Okay, straight in there. Now, this is a heavy saucepan, but you know, if you like to, you can just sort of coat your onions like that, or you can, if you don't like to shake the pan like that, you can just use a spoon. But being a show-off that I am, I like to do it like that. Okay? Okay, so we're going to let those sweat for a couple of minutes. Sweating means they're not going to be brown and caramelized, but they're going to be halfway between raw and caramelized. They'll just be yellow and lovely. Okay, the word I was looking for was translucent. My associate producer just gave me the word that I was stumbling for. So when they're translucent, we're getting there. The potatoes are now simmering away. Should be done soon. Next, we're going to add in the celery. Right in there with the onions, just like that. So we can also add the carrot at the same time. Boom, just like that. Mix that together. Another escapee. Coat that nicely. Next we're going to add in the garlic. 4 cloves of garlic. Don't put in the garlic too early because garlic burns very quickly and very easily. We're now going to put in the lamb, okay? And now I'm just going to break it apart. I'm going to add a little more heat to it because this will cool down the pan quite quickly because the lamb was cold. Now, the lamb will now sit on the bottom of the pan like that, and we're going to brown that all the way through. So we'll come back in a second. Let it sit for maybe 15-20 seconds. When you flip it over, you'll see how it's nice and brown now. So we're coming right along with that. That's coming along nicely. Let's just make sure to see if our potatoes are ready. We'll just grab a little piece out of there and see if that one's done. It's going to be a bit hot though. So, hot. That's done. So we'll turn the heat off and continue to brown our lamb. We can go ahead and toss in the peas. So the meat is almost all browned now, so we can add the rest of our ingredients. So what we're going to do is add in the rosemary and thyme, sprinkle it in there like that. We are going to add a bit of salt and pepper. Again, seasoning is really a personal thing. You may not like a lot of salt and pepper. You may. Don't forget that the beef stock will have quite a lot of saltiness in it, so don't go crazy with the salt. I like a lot of pepper. If you don't have a pepper mill, you can just use, you know, some ground pepper you've got in your pantry maybe. And this is sea salt instead of just the regular kitchen salt. It's a much nicer flavor. However, if you use it, be careful, because that is like double the amount of salt you would get out of the shaker. So be very careful with this stuff. I learned that the hard way. Okay, now we're going to add in the, this is the beef stock. We can give it a bit of a stir and pour that straight in. And we're going to turn the heat up to high and bring this to a boil. Now, I've realized, and I neglected to tell you, I put the 4 tablespoons of flour into the stock. Now, it's important that you put the flour in when the stock is cold and not hot. Otherwise, it'll lump up and then you've got to start over again. So when the stock is cold or just lukewarm, add your powder, your flour, and you can just whisk it, and so you get a nice smooth mixture there. Worcestershire sauce. It's not Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire sauce. Now again, a couple of dollops of that, however much you need. And finally, tomato paste. Now, as a trick to do this, one of my assistants already cut the top off of this one, but what I'm going to show you is this. I love doing this, don't ask me why. There's your top bit, watch. There you go. How great was that? It's already kind of boiling, so we'll turn the heat down a bit. Now it's going to mix in all these ingredients, including the tomato paste. And you're going to find that you have a lovely, lovely thick gravy soon. Next thing we're going to do is the potatoes. So we'll come back to that in a moment. Colander, I'm going to drain these potatoes. So I'm going to pop that in the sink. Potatoes are nice and done. Now, give them a shake out. Put them back in. We'll mash them right here in the pot. Okay. The shepherd's pie mix in here, we want this to cook for about 30 minutes. Just on a low heat, so it doesn't burn. About 30 minutes. While that's happening, we can go ahead and mash our potatoes. While we're waiting for that to evaporate some water off real quick, let me tell you about this week's t-shirt. If you look carefully, this was the Sebring that never happened, March of 2020, COVID Sebring. So I managed to get a shirt, although the, the event never even happened. And we had the recent Sebring event, and it was a good one. But this is my Sebring t-shirt from the event that never happened. In 20 years from now, we can remember that. So let's get with our mashed potatoes, okay? We're making a movie here, okay? So we've got a stick of butter, unsalted, chopped up into pats. I'm using the non-dairy creamer, 3/4 cup. You can use more or less, depends how you like it. Here's our cheese. We've got, I don't know, 2 cups of cheese there. Some pepper and a little bit of salt. Mash your potatoes real good, and then we can put it together and bake it. Last thing to go in the potatoes is our 2 egg yolks. Just the yolks, not the whites. Just gives them a nice silky finish. So, and the hot potatoes will cook those almost immediately, so you don't need to worry about cooking the eggs first. There we go. All right. The lamb that I got was quite low fat. However, if you're making cottage pie and using beef instead of lamb, or if you have a lot of fat on the meat, there's a trick. Take some kitchen paper towel. This works on pizza too, especially pepperoni pizza. Just lay this on the top. See that? What that does, the paper towel will absorb all of the oil and fat on the top. Now you want some in there, so of course don't take all of it out, but this will help you get rid of a lot of the excess fat. See that? It's one of my secret tips. I'll pass it on to you for free. Okay, once you've got most of that fat absorbed, you can just literally peel it off, and now we're ready to put the pie together. All right, we're going to take our lamb mixture. Don't leave any behind. Okay. Just give it a shake, smooth it out. Okay, smooth this out. Okay, now if you want to make a pattern on there, you can if you like. And then okay, now we're going to stick it in the oven. So our oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Because the potato and the lamb is already hot, we just need to bake it to put some brown on top of the potato. So in it goes, maybe for half an hour or so, and then we can take it out and enjoy. Are you rolling now?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, half an hour has gone by, so we're about done. Make sure you wear some of these, otherwise your fingers will be stuck to the thingy. And here is your shepherd's pie. Whoa. I made a big one because we've got some guests over tonight. And look what Ross bought me. Look at that, some 007 rum. We shan't be drinking that with shepherd's pie, however. Maybe later on, perhaps. Okay, we're going to tuck in. There you have it, shepherd's pie. Now, there's one condiment you might want to use. Houses of Parliament sauce. Sparingly, but it goes well with the shepherd's pie. There you go. See you next time.